Peace, 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 peace. What's up, everyone? I don't know how many people will be joining, but I did comment on another post. I see a lot of posts with a bunch of disinformation, a bunch of posts dealing with something that a lot of people have been doing for over 50 years now, and has landed a lot of people in jail as well. So before I get into it, I wait for a few people to get on. If some do get on, if not, I still make the live video. Maybe you could go back later on and watch it. But in this certain group, I had told certain people, well, I seen a certain video, so I was telling certain people that I was going to do a live today, explaining a lot more about what you can and can't do with the Strawman account. So, like I was saying earlier, there's a lot of videos and a lot of things going around that are just regurgitated information. And it's information that never really got any results, but it sounds good to someone that don't know better. So I'm still trying to figure out TikTok because I haven't never really done a live on here. Don't know whenever people will come in or however. I still keep watching my stream to see. I'm having to use my phone. I never had TikTok on my, well, I didn't have TikTok on this new computer before they did their banning of TikTok for a minute. So still working on that. So I guess, yeah, I'm gonna give a couple more minutes to get on. I don't know how long this live will even actually last, or how long I'll be able to have it, because I don't have 10,000 followers yet. But I'm on the road. This video is going to help, and other videos I'm going to make will help to do that too. But I have to go ahead and just make some longer videos and send them in as shorts or reels on here, and upload more information about this. I'll probably use TikTok more so to promote my In the Circle University, where we teach about a lot of this things that actually do work, and a lot of processes that you will get actual remedy from. The name of that is In the Circle University. But one way to get to that is the edricojuanblakeneychurch.square.site, and that is edricojuanblakeneychurch.square.site. So that's what goes on with that. Hey everyone, thanks for joining. I don't know how long you've been on here. I had mentioned that I was going to do a video. I was in another person group, or I've seen a video from another guy. I'm not going to say a group, but and they was going on about the straw man or whatever. So today I'll be and I'm not familiar with speaking to everyone, but hey to everyone that's watching. But there's a lot of misinformation out here, and then outside of what I've seen, mostly has been a bunch of young people who's picked up old information and presenting it as new information. And the misinformation that's been spread through some of the process of learning about the straw man, or what knowledge you may have of the straw man. I don't know how deep entailed you are about it. If you do know anything about it, you can leave it in the comments or whatever. But the straw man is a fictitious entity that was created at the same time after you're giving your live birth. Whenever you're at the hospital or whatever, your parents fill out the live birth form. The live birth form has them down as informants, and they give it to the government. And once it's given to the government, then it's created another entity, and they call it the straw man, which is a corporation. So you have to understand a little bit about how corporation works, trust laws, and how umbrellas work. You can have one main company, but everything else is up under the umbrella of this one main company. Some may call it a holding companies. It's all kind of expressions that they've had to talk about or to try to describe the process of the straw man being created. But it all got started in 1933 with Roosevelt and the HJR 192 or the HJR 92, the suspending of the gold, and America went into bankruptcy and had to borrow more money. So in order to borrow the money, they had to have collateral. And so what they offered off was all the land and the future labor of the people. And so that's what got all that started. But you can also redeem it in lawful money. And that's something we'll touch on before I get off of here. But I'm not going to give away too much details. As I was saying earlier, I do have a group, and it's called ND Circle University. Circle spelled CIRKE. And you can find that and check out the site and some of the things that we do offer there. It's at edricojuanblakeneychurch.square.site. So edricojuanblakeneychurch.square.site. So you can go there and check out the courses and other things that we have there, where we get more deep in detail and actually show you things that actually do work. Excuse my French. But the thing that really got to me was how much of this information that's going about and what people are saying and what people are doing and what they're teaching is some of the same rhetoric that I even fell victim to. Paid for different things and got into different things, but studying and reading and learning for myself, found out that stuff doesn't work. So as we were talking about the straw man, and they get started from HJR 92 or 192, if I quoted that wrong, forgive me. But the birth certificate is taken, traded on the DTC stock market. You can find proof of that, and the all capital name that you will have on your birth certificate, on your social security card, on your driver license, all of those are the entities or the things that goes with the entity of the straw man. So the straw man isn't a living, breathing person. You are. This is a forgery in a sense, or they call it a fictitious entity. Just like a trust is a fictitious entity, and all these other things, the corporations are all fictitious entities. But you can use those in the world of commerce, or use them as you deal with the public, start businesses, and do things in the open with. So on the video, the guy was showing, I'm not going to call his name because that's not how I'm going to do it. And I really can't remember the guy's name. I just commented because I seen it scrolling on TikTok. But he was showing proof of the actual money that's in a TDA account for the straw man. And here's the thing about it. That money that was created and put in there as a credit. If you go on your credit reports and check out everything else, no matter what you got on your credit report, you see that you still have 100% of credit to use. No matter if your credit's jacked up and you got bills and charge-offs, you got liens, you got all this other stuff, you still have 100% of the credit. Because this is what the U.S. use as collateral. The future labor and all the land, mortgages on the land. So this is why you never really own your home. You have to register it back with the state, but the state actually, or the government actually owns all of the land in a sense. But there's ways of going around it to keep your land and having it. We'll talk about that too toward the end. So once you know that that's what they do, the same thing you do when you register your car. So what they do is too also, and this is something that I can't prove. So this part here that I'm saying is that the way that they monetize or make a bond off of the birth certificate and create a bond is through through your family, and what kind of income has your grandmother made, your great grandmama made, and what type of income have you made, the places that you stay. And so there's a certain amount of money that they may accumulate or come up with a number to say that this birth certificate is worth this much. And then once they started trading it on the stock market, then it grows in value and things of that nature. So the thing I wanted to really talk about was that you have to understand trust law. The government is the grantor. Once your parents or the informers give that birth certificate over, then they become the grantor of what they call a square trust. This is the strawman. And in that name of that strawman, the government is the grantor. He is the creator and makes you the beneficiary. Don't make you the trustee, but makes you the beneficiary. And inside of that, any money or anything accumulated inside of that square trust that they've created and they've done, that is their money. And what you get to receive out of that is benefits such as welfare, Medicaid, public assistance, and all these other things. These are the things that you are able to receive. You cannot get into that account and use that money. It's not your money. So a little deeper about that is the reason why it's not your money is the beneficiary don't get to control the trust unless it's written in there. And so the trust agreement for the straw man and in between the real living person or the straw woman, however you want to categorize it, is the Constitution. It's a trust indenture in itself. And the civil rights part that's added in there too. I can't think of the technical name for it, but all of that is the trust indenture, the way it's set up. And you have to read it and read it with comprehension and have an understanding. You can't just read it as literal in a sense, but you have to have an understanding of what's been said and what's been done. So also that money that's in the account, people have tried and some has been successful in it and getting it and have went to jail. There's a lot of people that has tried and went to jail and didn't get the money. So like I was saying earlier, if you know something about trust law, you know that the beneficiary only receives the benefits from the trust unless it's written in there that the beneficiary can do certain things. One thing the beneficiary can do, they can add to the assets of the trust. So adding your car is adding assets into that square trust. Adding your home and your mortgage into that is adding into the square trust. That is adding assets into it. And in return, you get the benefits. Once you do that and understand that you lose a lot of the private rights that you have because you traded them in for privileges. And a little side note, just like your 401k, your life insurance policies, all these other things, these people are taking that and they're investing on the stock market and things that they want to and giving you a small benefit. Your company that matches your 401k or you put in your 401k, they'll put it on the stock market and you're getting small benefits. And you can get penalized and taxed for it on a high level if you withdraw early or do certain things. You know, if I'm wrong, let me know. But all of these things are what you're able to contribute into the system. Your Social Security that comes out of your checks whenever you work, W-2s. Or if you're a 1099 employee, most time you set it up and you have to pay employee insurance if you want to put into the Social Security Act so you can get checks later on. So before I get too much further down the road, your birth certificate is created. It's created on bond paper. And it's created by the same company that prints the money for the U.S. government. That same company makes the bond paper that your birth certificate is converted into. Your live birth is created into or turned into. Just like your promissory notes are put into a pool. They're changing vehicles. They're being converted into something else. Something that can be of value and you can exchange for it. So your birth certificate is the name of the trust or the name of the account, what some people would say. And your Social Security number is the number attached to that account. This is where all of the money has been put in that most people are finding out that there's money actually tied to their birth certificate. But like I said before, that money is not the beneficiaries. You can't go in and get it. I'm just telling you that so you won't get on a bunch of disinformation and try to do some things and end up landing yourself in court and end up landing yourself in jail off of trying to process that sounds great to you or sounds real good to you. And it does make sense. Whenever I first found out about it, it pissed me off and made me upset. And so I was like, okay, what can I do about it? And then going through so much information and so many different people to find out there's a bunch of disinformation. Some people still try to use the David Wynn Miller process. And there's a couple more older people, some would call gurus in this act or in this private movement to try to access that or try to move and do that. Is even they have processes now telling you can get bid bond and performance bond from the courts, and you can sign those things over. But you have to understand, just because they carry the straw man name does not make it your property. It's not yours. It is theirs. You'll never get the bid bond or the performance bond from the judge, even though that's their done whatever the acceptance for value. I haven't seen it work. There's certain steps in the processes for that so-called acceptance for value that I've ventured in, but I never went down the road for enough because I didn't see the workings of it. If you look on the back of the Social Security card, I don't know if they still do it now, but on the back of them, most time they tell you that this card and the number belongs to the government. It don't even belong to you. So you can stop saying that that's your birth certificate, or you can stop saying that that's your Social Security number. You can create your own birth certificate and have your own birth certificate, and that's about as much as I'm going to talk about that and have it authenticated. Authenticating your birth certificate or their birth certificate doesn't mean that you're authenticating or taking ownership over that birth certificate as it was taught years ago and still being taught now. As I said, the disinformation. You're authenticating their document, their form, their information. And I hope that makes sense. So you cannot authenticate something that belongs to someone else and take ownership. That's about like doing a quick claim deed on someone's home, and that owner knows about it, and they're going to get you and lock you up for fraud. You can't just take shit and make it your own by authenticating it. But like I said, that's much we'll talk about that too. There's other things we teach in our Inner Circle University. I wish I could have typed it on here, but I'm on my phone. I don't know how TikTok even works on the computer. But as I said before, I'm going to put this information back out there again. It's Inner Circle University. You find it at, the link for it is edricojuanblakeneychurch.square.site. Now the consultation that I have on there, the prices on that site as well, for new people, that's not yours. It's $50 an hour for consultation to talk more in depth about these things and to learn more about the classes and the courses. The price for the membership is the same, or the donation for the membership is the same. A donation for the consultations. But for those that are familiar with these processes and familiar with these things and want to get more clarity or do whatever, that price stays because, it's time and energy of mine that's being taken up. And your time and your energy is the most valuable thing that you have. The reason why is because you can't get it back. The time, energy, and the study, and I've been studying this since 2018, and I've tried many of the processes, and I can tell you those more in the private about what do work and what don't work. But and not naming the gurus or people that call gurus, I can name the processes, and if you're familiar with this, you'll be able to understand where the information came from. But so the Strawman account, the TDA account, some what they call it Treasury Direct account. You can't tap into it. You can't do it. And there's other ways I've heard about processes of doing it. Like I said, there's proportions of it that I can understand about law, and that's the UCC filing. You can have your UCC filing and put a lien upon your straw man, and with that, then you become the secured party. And there's a lot of the processes that's being sold too. It's called a secured party creditor. And you get into your UCCs and get into definitions and learn all about some of those names. The Bailey, Baylor, learn what accounts is, learn what banks are, learn what the secured party is, and the secured party, in fact, learn what those things are. Learn what bonds are, learn what negotiable instruments are, and learn things of that nature. And then you can see through a lot of the fluff. If anybody's on here or watching this video, if you got any evidence, you can contact me in the private. But I'm going to tell you, I don't look forward to losing this challenge that no one has ever completed and successfully done it without getting themselves landed in jail and still having to give back whatever they received. So if you got proof, do it. And that's what people are not showing. As I said in the other video, there's other ways to redeem your money or recoup your money, but it's going to have to be under this universal law. That you put in is only what you can get out. So saying like your mortgage, your bank accounts, and other things that you've actually contributed to and worked for on yourself, using your own physical labor and produce monetization or monies and those things. We have processes to show you how you can do that. So putting a lien on yourself and things of that nature. Some people call it strawman filing. Here in South Carolina, they say that they don't allow strawman filings, but there's other states like Texas, California, and a couple more. I'm not sure of every last one of them because I haven't had a chance to try to study every last one of them. I only try to stay focused on those that I'm connected with and those people I'm connected with. But I do know that the commercial law is uniform all through 50 states. And those laws, and if you get a lien from any one of the 50 states, it carries to even South Carolina. But that's all the nugget I'm going to drop about that one. So I've seen the processes too that say that you have to do, and it's a very lengthy process, and you have to know a whole bunch of stuff, and you're going to have to find out a bunch of information that they do not provide to the public. You can't just Google it. You're going to have to write letters to certain people and get information and push certain agencies to give you information, which puts you on the list. And so you don't want to be on the watch list and these things of that nature as well. But do know the strong man is what's called the citizen. And those are statuses. Statuses are citizens. Citizen is a status. Black is a status. White is a status. Asian America is a status. What they call African American is a status. Indigenous American is a status. Hawaiian is a status. Samoan is a status. You can correct your status. You can separate yourself from your straw man. A lot of times they've been teaching in the back in the day of capturing your straw man. So you capture it through the UCC and putting a bond out for the value of that UCC. More detail in the private membership. And so you can do what they somewhat would call capture the straw man, or control the straw man, in a sense. So you do that, you get your bond, you get your lien, and then with the value of that bond, let's say you take it to the TDA and open up a trading direct account with that, and to get a CUSIP number for that. So that's going to be another hard thing to do, to get a CUSIP number for those instruments without you being an actual trading or being known as a trading public trading entity, or whatever you want to call it, those that deal with stocks and bonds and things of that nature. So creating your own TDA account. Now you can start a TDA account. You can go on the Treasury Direct account and start things with money and certain other public bonds that are traded and going to be recognized by the Fortune 500s or the stock market. I can't think of the name of the company that actually does it and deals with the bonds and stuff of that nature. But if you're familiar with it, you know what I'm talking about. But it's going to have to be SEC or something like that. But those recognized bonds and instruments. A lot of the stuff that we do is on the private side, And even though we handle ourselves on the private side, we give information to certain entities and government facilities, and we're expressing our status and our things of that nature. So as I was talking about earlier, we have a passport process. Some has been called it similar to the copper moonshine, the do not detain method or process. But there's one piece on there that you have to do until your explanatory statement, and things and information you put inside your explanatory statement helps delineate who you are. And once you go through that process of filling out the passport correctly and you get your passport back, then that affidavit that you send in or that explanatory statement will be deemed as an affidavit, and it will show who you are. You're going to go off and let them know that you're not a U.S. citizen, which is you have to pay taxes. Not trying to say to evade taxes in a sense, but the requirements of a U.S. citizen, they're not talking about you. So there's other things we have to dig into and learn about and get into. Like I said, I may be doing more videos about it here on TikTok and just using this platform. I also have a YouTube channel as well. It's In the Circle, In the Circle Ministries. You know, NDCIRKLE and then ministry. I would have to give me 1 second, and I'm going to pull it up and tell you where to find it as well. I do a lot of teaching on spirituality, and I do have a couple of videos on these subjects here, like what is wealth, what are trusts, the truth about HJR 92, and a bunch more other things of that nature. So, trying to get my Wi-Fi to come back up. Give me 1 second and I'll be right back. I had to hook directly into the landline. So as I said earlier, when I get back on where I just left off from, is that you can't get into that account because it's not yours. But this is another way they were teaching, like I said, the David Wynn Miller process, and I can't get the name of the other people that did it. And they were going through processes. There's something called Guru that was locked up. There's another book that shows this same process called Cracking the Code. Cracking the Code, I don't know if it's 1, 2, and 3, but I have a Cracking the Code 3rd edition and the 2nd edition. And it just shows you the process of so-calledly a dude that went through and did all these things and got himself out of jail by creating these things and getting off of his straw man and getting out of jail. But let me see. Let me go to my YouTube channel, and so I can give you the correct information on how to find the YouTube channel. Like and subscribe it as well. And if any of this information I've been talking about you on here, follow me as well. We can get deeper into more things on here and engage more. And YouTube is www.youtube.com/@edricojuanblakeneychurch. Same thing, information I gave almost for the university without the square site. But EDRICOJUANBLAKENEYCHURCH. So that's where you can find my YouTube and a couple of things on there. So, but yeah, that's a lengthy process and a bunch of things to do. And I'm not going to say that it's going to be a walk in the cake, a walk in the park. A lot of people have come, I'm not going to be funny, but a lot of smarter people that were deep in depth and understanding legalese. It's the language that the government use and the lawyers use and every other of these outside entities that they use for the federal government, the IRS, Social Security Administration. All of these are outsourced. They're not the federal government. And if you've been watching Trump, you'll see how he's been stopping the funding to those entities that are not actually owned by the federal government, but they outsource their information or outsource work and things to them. So that's as much as about your straw man what it is. So, like I say, you can correct your status for one thing, and you can live in a way in the private where you use entities. You own nothing and control everything, where you create trust just as the government did. You can actually stop using the social if you need to, or you can use the social to help capitalize you in the private, in a sense, as far as LLCs and your members. One of the biggest and the best ways that I know to do anything where you can get complete separation from the government is through your church. And I'm not talking 501c. If you know anything about that, you can read the rules and the instructions for the 501c and see how that you have a right already to be recognized without the forms. So the forms, or filling out the application for these things, is the contract that you make with the IRS. And they then can dictate you. So now you become a religious organization. So you can stay an unincorporated association, meaning that you're not using the state and you're not using the government to make your stand, or to be in the public as an entity. You can still remain your private self and still conduct yourself in that way. But once you become a citizen, or you become a religious organization, or you become a company, or you become a corporation, there are certain rules that you must follow that goes by state and some by federal laws. Most times it's state first, and if most times, 9 times out of 10, you can see what state and federal laws darn near mirror themselves. They're almost simultaneously. The federal government has got its reach inside of every state, because the states receive federal money from them. Outside of every state's going to have a National Guard or armory there in their state, mostly a National Guard as well. But your federal post office and your mailbox is how you're inside of that jurisdiction as well. So there's the other ways we teach you about getting a private mailbox or a private place to receive your mails, but your mailbox brings you into that jurisdiction as well. If you know about anything about that, taking someone's mail or going to someone else's mailbox is a federal offense. It's not a state offense, but it's a federal offense. So this is where they get their reach and how they're connected into the state and intertwined with each other. You might see a little difference in your state constitution that varies a little, very little from the United States Constitution. United States of America. The United States is the corporation. That's what we were talking about earlier, that creates a straw man. And up under it has other corporations up under the umbrella, or it is a trust running as a corporation, and it has they have other trusts broke down from that trust, created from that trust. I forgot the actual legal word, and I don't want to mess it up. Cinerary trust, something like that. But these trusts are created from out from up under that trust, so they're controlled by that. And then you get labeled as citizen or organizations. And then you have to go through certain federal rules, guidelines, and requirements to operate or be fined. So as I said earlier, you can learn about how to correct your status through the passport and other things as power of attorneys that can be signed in your local state and filed with them, delineating who and what exactly you are, and a few more other processes that I only talk about into the private, because I don't want to put a lot of information out here for others to take and miscrewed and fuck it up, to be honest. So, and I put a lot of time and energy into creating this lifestyle that I actually live. And like I say, you become members of Inner Circle, I have the actual proof to show you about a lot of this information I'm talking about. And the other things that we have not talked about that you have to go on the website of the university and find out what we do offer. But don't get yourself caught up in a bunch of stuff of that nature. The straw man and tapped into the TDA account. If you do figure out how much that birth certificate is worth and how much it's being traded, I forgot the site you can go on, but it's another site where you can go look up stocks and bonds, and you can see even up to every time that if you ever went and got you another copy of your birth certificate, you can see how that first bond has stopped making money or acquired money and how much it's worth, and then how much the new one is worth. still not yours. No, I say trust law is a must to save yourself a bunch of trouble. Understanding a lot about trust, not just the revocable and irrevocable. Understand how trusts are created. What position does everyone play in the trust, from the grantor, settlor, or the trustees or trustors, or the executor to the beneficiary? Learn about these things and learn how they operate and function. And that's other stuff that we teach there too. Having trust set up for asset protections, how you protect your assets and put them in trust to where they're skip probate, and you don't have to worry about them ever being taken by any other so-called creditor. As we talked earlier, showing you how to become a secured party. And yes, there's other things that they'll teach too about your signature. They only get things through your signature, so you are the real creditor. Whenever you go to get loans from the mortgage companies or from the banks, or you get these car loans, they're tapped into that TDA account of the Square Strawman Trust. Yes, they're getting the credits off of it, but it's not just only your signature that creates the credit. The credit is already established. It's your promise to pay, your promissory note. That it can be in every application that you fill out, even if you're borrowing money or your loan applications, even when you get down to the closing table with your mortgage and all the information that you go through, or you get down to the sales paper and you sign that paper at the end. It is your promise to pay. Even if you go to Duke Power, that's our energy source down here, or Lynch's River, whatever the power company is, internet person, or you get a contract with the cell phone, all of those are promissory notes. And yes, they're able to, as government entities or under government entities, go and securitize those promissory notes. And securitization, if you look at it in a sense and understand a lot about it, you can go find out Gene Kennington's. Look him up, and he has a couple of videos. I actually have it for my private members. He talk about securitization and actually doing your assessing the taxes and all these other things. But they're able to do that and make that all the money. That's what comes with it. And as you only receive the benefits as the beneficiary. You receive the benefit of having the phone and using the phone, and also the benefit of paying the taxes on that phone. If you don't buy it outright. If you buy it outright, you're still going to pay taxes. Or you're going to be able to have the benefit of staying in the home, paying the usury, because you have a couple of things that come with a mortgage. You have possessionary interest and an equitable interest. You leave with the possessionary interest in it. Whoever you got your loan through, or whoever the bank or the mortgage company, however you got the money to get the mortgage, they have equitable interest in it. And anyone knows that possession is 9/10 of the law. But the system is so jacked up going through that, trying to fight it through the courts. They're not going to allow you, the same way they're not going to allow you tap into the TDA account or going in there proving that you have a TDA account in the courthouse. They're going to lock you up for 30 days and not more for a psych evaluation. Ask those that have tried it, that have done it, and actually went into the court to get it. Same thing with the bid bond and performance bond. They're going to give you a psych evaluation. They're not going to allow some of these truths that we may learn that are truths that we're talking about, the straw man and all these other things in the credit. They're not going to allow that to be in the public record. They're not going to allow it to go on court cases. Imagine if you found one person that can prove that the securitization of a mortgage is unconstitutional. They would not allow it to get on the records, because then that whole system will fall. So it's another thing you got to understand what the hell you're up against, and trying to do these half-ass schemes that other people have said that you can do this and you can do that. Ask them where's their proof. Show me the house that you've got it. Show me the house you've discharged. Show me the loan you've discharged using that Strawman account off of the credit that you own. So you have to be careful. You have to be mindful. You have to be vigilant. You have to learn, and you have to study for yourself and allow the inner God inside of you, the God that you are, to reveal all these truths. As I said earlier, There's other ways of recouping it by going through processes of creating trust and creating entities and working through those entities. You're able to do more through entities than you are through a citizen. A citizen is just a receiver and a payer. As we're talking about the equitable interest, with you having, with them having equitable interest, they should be paying taxes on any interest that they get. You get your mortgage, maybe 10 to 15% of that is going to the principal, the rest going to interest. And they should be filing taxes for their interest, but they don't. And that's what we'll talk about in the private, about how to retain and recoup things of that nature. But you're stuck with the possessionary interest in it. So the possessionary, him that owns or him that controls, is liability. He that owns the things or him that has the things, so is the liability. So you're liable for taxes. You're liable for the upkeep of the home. You're liable or reliable for all the things that it takes to maintain the home. So if you don't pay the taxes, they can come after you. The government can come back and take their property and kick you out of the home, and you'll still be held reliable for the equitable interest on it, even though 9/10 of the law makes it yours. And hold on one second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. So that same thing about the debt we talked about earlier with HJR 192, and they control all the debt. We live in a debt-based society. Everything works off of a promise to pay. The dollar bill or whatever bill you have is a promissory note. It's good for public and legal debts, all public and legal debts. So the government owns the debts, and the government owns those debts, and so they're responsible for them, but they pass them off to the citizens, to their umbrella company, to their smaller trust. And that trust acts as a trustee for the corporation, the United States Corporation. So that's how some people have got it confused with saying that they make you the trustee, and then you can go into court and make the judge the trustee of the account and run the judge out of the courtroom. Not happening. But the beneficiary don't have the right to do any of those things. I said others study about trust laws. But the debt is owed, so there's a way to go about doing it. So the promissory notes are, in this debt society, is what we have that runs our society. Bonds and anything else are instruments of indebtedness. And so, that's what's another thing you have to understand about how the system works and how the system deals with. Every Joe Blow promissory note can't get put into the stock market and put into the system and used for exchange of good and negotiable instruments. My style money orders and taking the coupons, they teach too that if you take your or the bottom of your bill, they got a thing for you, a coupon that tells you to put in how much you owe when it's done. Because they're saying that a coupon or a bill of exchange will have a person that is requesting the money, a person that they are sending it to, that they're requesting the money from, and a time to pay, and things of that nature. And they say you could put certain things on it. People have went to jail for putting route numbers on it too. That's another thing. You can't put route numbers, make fake route numbers to put on there. Most time people use routing numbers from checks and other things. But that's landed a lot of people in jail. And they're saying you could take that and sign it over an endorsement on the back, and that pays the bill. Now, that sounded something like that was very interesting. You know how much and how little things would go if you actually could just take that and just pay all your damn bills by just signing that coupon. And if you read the coupon, it's saying send cash and check attached with this coupon. The coupon is just going to let them know where the check and cash need to go to for the bill. But it's enough about that. I said I had a lot of people to join, so hopefully I have a bunch of more new subscribers to the channel. I want to thank everybody for coming out and joining on. As I talked about earlier, the YouTube, the Inner Circle Ministry, you can go there tomorrow, 7 o'clock Eastern Time. I'll be doing a YouTube Live. I may not be talking about this process here, but talk about other things. But if you ever come to the YouTube Live or either you catch me on here, questions are welcome. Thoughts and opinions are welcome. You just got to do it in a good way and have good nature about yourself. Negativity or BS won't be allowed. You'll be, booted from the live, or either your comments will be erased or ignored. But you can ask anything or say anything. Just direct it in a respectable way, being honorable. So I hope this has been a very informational for you. Like I say, there's too much to talk about to try to cover it in one live. Just want to hit around to a bunch of things, and like I say, outside in the private and these other videos I'll be talking about and going live on here with, because I got a couple days to use this live. You guys are going to help me to get to 10,000 followers so I can go live consistently when I want to, and I want to thank you in advance for that. 10,000 followers, not subscribers. 10,000 followers. And so I thank you in advance for that. And because I really don't like to do posting videos and then uploading them. I don't have, that takes up too much time. I rather just do it live, and I rather interact with you and have interactions. Like I was saying earlier, questions and thoughts, opinions, views, all of those are welcome. And it works better that way than to me to do a video, upload it, and then all during the day or all during the week answering comments and replying to comments and things of that nature, which I am not saying I'm above, but I do have another life outside of this. I own my own painting company and auto mechanic business as well. Well, if you didn't know, now you do know. And so I have a wife, kids, and grandchildren. So I live my life. But one more thing before we get off. What was it I talking about earlier? I wanted back to touch on. Operating through entities and operating and setting yourself up throughout your church and throughout all your business. Come out from amongst them and be ye separate, saith the Lord. It's a Bible verse. And structure yourself that way. Separation of church and state is the way to go. And for much more information, things of that nature, like I said, you can get in touch with the Inner Circle University, schedule a consultation. And like I said, the price won't be the $250 for those. I think that's what it said, for those that are more in depth in this process. The reason I set that up there is to discourage those from wanting to do their work themselves, because we will teach you, we will bring you through things, but it's up to you to learn and to understand. That is the most important part, is for you to understand until you get an overstanding of what you're doing. So any of these processes you may get involved with, if you don't come to me, or you don't come to the Inner Circle University and donate for the year membership, we'll have bi-weekly, twice a month, we'll have meetings. You better have contact and information, or have access to me and other members inside the group for as long as the meeting may last. But we have them twice a month. So that's another thing you get. So that'll cut back on consultation and a bunch of information that we can teach in there and hopefully give you a better understanding while you're understanding the thing. But for those that's mostly wanting to come in and just want to be lazy and don't want to do the work. So if you're gonna take my time, I'm gonna give you the resources, I'm gonna give you the information, but it's gonna cost you. But just for those that are just curious about it, wanting to step into it, maybe want to know more about what they're getting into, the consultations are free for the first 30 minutes. And then after that, $50 for the next one. So my time is my energy, and it must be paid for, and you should have that same concept. So I want to thank you guys for coming out and joining. Thank you for listening. Thank you for paying attention. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you for the love. And some badges or something else that said that I did on here. I don't know how you can go back and rewatch a live that someone has done, but if you do catch it, what's up, Rav? I see you down there, bro. I did get to catch you. Yeah, you already know. So if you can go back and watch it live, you can find a bunch of nuggets of information or whatever. But the main thing I want you to get out of it is the Inner Circle University and the the Inner Circle Ministry on YouTube as well. So come follow us on there. Come check us out. You can catch me on live every Wednesday, as I say. I talk about various topics. Most of them dealing with spirituality and self-mastering and growing within yourself, allowing your higher consciousness, the energy being that you are, allow it to master your lower self and your lower vibration. The Bible may speak of it as a carnal mind, to allow your heavenly mindset or the Christ mindset or the understanding that you are a God, and allow that to master your lower self. So as you operate from that positioning, using your third eye, your spiritual insight, and not your carnal, plural way of seeing things. And that's another thing too. You got the carnal eyes, you have dualism. When you're dealing with a lot of the system and the governments and all this stuff, you're going to have dualism. So that do know that if you can see it from the one eye, you can detect and you can understand how to navigate throughout the system. So if you can, go back and watch it live, go back and watch it and catch up with it and see some of the things that I've missed if you got on, that you may have missed when you first got on to earlier. If you're not already following here, thank you in advance for following me here and getting me to the 10,000 followers. So as we can go through and do more live interactions. As I said before, I may upload videos. You see, I got some older ones uploaded, but I prefer a one-on-one opportunity of doing it. I feel like there's a greater connection between me and you doing it this way, where you can actually ask questions and have them answered then, or the energy flows better while you're in that first motion. But love you guys. Wish nothing but best for you. So peace to the God and peace to the goddesses. Watch the processes, vent the processes, and ask the people for proof of anything that they've done. Proof that they've done it, not proof from others or proof of people inside of their circle, but proof that they've done it and they've been successful with it, no matter what it is. So, love you guys. Peace, love, and happiness to everyone. And scream whip to all of you guys. And may you grow in knowledge, understanding, and everything that you do.